So we already talked about the goalkeepers for this Gold Cup. So now let's talk about the defenders who have been called up to the 40-man roster by Greg Berhalter for the Gold Cup this summer. Hey, what's up you guys? It's your boy Drew here, back again with another video for all you American soccer fans out there. And in this video, like I said, we're going to talk about the defenders who have been called up by Greg Berhalter for this Gold Cup. Now, this video is going to be a little bit longer than the goalkeeper one due to a lot more names in the defending roster right now. A lot more players to go through. Some players, I'm more familiar with than the other one. So if I get some stats wrong about a player that you like on this roster, I apologize in advance. And as always, if you guys love soccer and you want to see it get the growth and respect it deserves in America, then subscribe down below and be part of the change. So without further ado, let's get to the names. We got Tyler Adams from RP Leipzig in the Bundesliga, Reggie Cannon from FC Dallas, Cameron Carter-Vickers from Tottenham Hotspur, Marlon Fossey from Fulham FC, Greg Garza from FC Cincinnati, Omar Gonzalez from Club Atlas in the Liga MX, Andrew Gutman, beautiful first name by the way, from Charlotte Independence in the USL, Nick Lima from San Jose, Aaron Long from New York Red Bulls, Daniel Lovitz from Montreal Impact, Matt Miazga from Chelsea, Tim Ream from Fulham FC, Anthony Robinson from Wigan Athletic but on loan from Everton, Miles Robinson from Atlanta United, and of course Walker Zimmerman from LAFC. So some familiar faces are still missing from this lineup, as you can see, even in the defending aspect. We've got DeAndre Yedlin and John Brooks both missing due to injury, and we got Jeff Cameron, which is a surprise that I've seen that he wasn't called up, which is cool to me because I'm not a big fan of Jeff Cameron, alright? And I think I'm not the only one who feels that way. Yeah, so a lot of names to go through here, like I said. But to keep this video a little short, not make it too long, I'm going to talk about the main players that I'm familiar with, or the main players I want called up to the final 23-man roster in time for the Gold Cup, which is, I believe, in June 6th is when the final announcement will be made. And by the way, if you guys missed the goalkeeper video on this topic, I'll leave a link to that down below in the description. And if you're not subscribed yet, of course, subscribe, because we're going to be going through every single position leading up to this Gold Cup. So right now we're on defenders, next video will be on midfielders, and the video after that will be, of course, on strikers. So very excited for all these videos coming up. I hope you guys are excited as me. Let's talk about it now. Okay, so if I'm correct in terms of which way I think Greg Berhalter will want to line up his back line, I believe he'll stick with a custom, normal 4 at the back, a right back, left back, and 2 center backs. So let's start off with the right backs right now that we've got on this roster. We got Tyler Adams, Nick Lima, Reggie Cannon, and Fossey. Okay? So right off the back, Tyler Adams, obviously, a lot of people recognize him more for a center defensive midfielder for RP Leipzig, and even before when he played for New York Red Bulls. But he's kind of, able to play as a right back. He's played out a right back the last two friendly games that we had with Greg Berhalter against Chile and Ecuador, and I think he did pretty decent. I don't think he really had too much of a bad game. But like I said, it's a very new position to him. He's more comfortable in the center defensive midfield. So it sucks that we have such a creative mind, such like a good player with the ball, great passing, great tackling, to be played as a right back. But if it fits for the lineup, I can't see no wrong with that. So obviously Tyler Adams is going to be the #1 pick for Greg Berhalter and for your boy Drew to start at the right back. So let's go right into Marlon Fossey. It's a young 19-year-old player from Fulham FC who I feel like he's just come on the scene. If you guys have known him before before this video, then good, props to you, because I have no idea who this kid was until this lineup was announced, and I kind of looked him up on FIFA for like FIFA games. I was like, oh, who is this kid? Is he even in the FIFA game? And to my surprise, he is. Very young teenager playing for Fulham FC at the right back. In the Premier League nonetheless, but I don't think he really made any Premier League appearances yet for Fulham FC. And of course now next year he won't be playing in the Premier League because Fulham was relegated back to the Championship, where I think maybe he might get some more experience or some more playtime, which is good for him. So I don't know him well enough to want him in the lineup, or know him well enough to really make a good commentary on him. So let's go into Nick Lima and Reggie Cannon. Again, these right backs I'm really not familiar with, except Tyler Adams for the most part. And I know Reggie Cannon from FC Dallas. He's made 2 appearances so far for the national team, senior team, and I think he's just so young and inexperienced national team player, which I think he just needs more experience, more time to play in the national team in a big tournament like this. Maybe some more friendlies, call him up. He's definitely a player who's shown a lot of potential. I actually really was surprised that Shaq Moore wasn't called up. I think he's doing well for Levante. I mean, you know, despite Levante being close to the relegation zone this season in La Liga, but they didn't get relegated, by the way. I just thought, you know, he's a good pacey right back to have maybe in place of Tyler Adams if Tyler Adams wants to be moved to the midfield. But, you know, we got Reggie Cannon. I know Nick Lima, again, I don't know too much about him, but from what I've read and from what I've seen tweets of fans from San Jose, that he's been lighting it up for San Jose. Really proud to have him being called up from their team to the national team. So, good for them. That's it for the right backs. If I had to pick two right backs, I'd go Tyler Adams and Nick Lima, because I think Nick Lima and Tyler Adams are both kind of, I think they're more matured in the position, more matured as a player, national team player, than Reggie Cannon and Marlon Fossey. But no harm to them. So let's go to the center backs. Okay, now I know a lot more of these center backs than I do with the right backs. I'm more familiar with them. So let's talk about them. Matt Miazga, Tim Ream, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Omar Gonzalez, Walker Zimmerman, Aaron Long, and Andrew Goodman. A lot of players called up for the center back position, which is normal, which is very good to see. We got a nice, good mix of young players and senior players mixed in here. So let's talk about maybe the youngest player, or really young, maybe, or inexperienced player, I should say, for the center backs. And that's Andrew Gutman. And I'm not too sure if he's a center back or not. He's playing for Charlotte Independence in the USL. And like I said, I had no idea who this dude was. So I looked him up. He's had 2 goals for Charlotte Independence as a defender, which is really good. Even though Charlotte Independence is really kind of on the bottom half, like towards the bottom of the table for the Eastern Conference, I think from what I've seen, he's been playing really well. So it's a big confidence boost, and a big boost for him to be called up for the national team when he's only playing in the USL. And I think that's something really great. I think that, you know, our national team managers, whoever, like Greg Berhalter, and in the future, they should always look at the USL and see what other kind of players they have there to offer. So I think that's really good. I'm not too sure if he's a center back or not. I couldn't really find any good formations from Charlotte Independence to show me where this dude has been playing. But if I had to guess, he's probably either a center back or, I don't know. I'd just go with the center back. Okay, so let's talk about a player now who a lot of people maybe are kind of wondering why this dude has been called up. And I'm talking about Omar Gonzalez. Now, Omar Gonzalez has gotten a lot of stick lately when he's been called up, or like when he got called up to this national team. People are like, why the f is Omar Gonzalez called up? Like, you know, and I can see it. You know, he's 30 years old. He really hasn't improved as a player in the center back. He really hasn't shown that he's a quality center back enough to keep him around, even as a senior player. I just don't think he's good enough to be in the national team right now. I think we've got a lot more younger players, a lot more pacey players coming along in the ranks that can really totally replace him. So I don't know why, you know, he was called up. Maybe he's doing well in Liga MX for Club Atlas, but I really haven't been following because I don't care for him. You know, he really was very disappointing in the qualifying for the 2018 World Cup, which of course we missed out at. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's kind of surprised and kind of annoyed that Omar Gonzalez was called up. I really don't see what Greg Berhalter is seeing in him right now. But that's it. That's that with him. Let's talk about Matt Miazga and Cameron Carter-Vickers, 2 players who are signed for Premier League teams, but really haven't been made an impact for that team. You know, Vickers with Tottenham Hotspur and Matt Miazga with Chelsea. You know, Matt Miazga has been loaned out for like 3 straight years since he signed with Chelsea back in like 2016 or something. He's only made 2 appearances for Chelsea in the Premier League or as a senior level. But right now he did spend this season on loan to Reading, where he helped save them from relegation from the Championship. So that's good for him. You know, I really had a lot of hype and potential for Matt Miazga a couple years ago. I was like, dude, this guy's the real deal. He's gonna be a really big center back for us. But I feel like he hasn't really been able to live up to that potential yet. You know, I think the mistake was going to Chelsea, where they're known to loan out a lot of their young players and not really give them their experience that they need, unless they're just wonder kid players. So I really hope that doesn't happen to Pulisic when he goes to Chelsea. But maybe, you know, having Pulisic and Matt Miazga in Chelsea will kind of help Chelsea be like, you know what, let's play Matt Miazga with Pulisic or whatever. Like, who knows what they're going to do. But I still think he's got good potential. He's so young. He's only 23 years old. So he still has a lot of time to grow into and mature to his position and become a better player. So I definitely pick him to go to the Gold Cup this summer. Cameron Carter-Vickers, I haven't really seen a lot of him. He has made 7 appearances for the national team in the senior level. But like I said, he's another player who's been loaned out by his senior club, by his home club that he's on a contract with, Tottenham Hotspur. He's been playing for Sheffield United or Ipswich Town. I forget who he was with this last season, but I think he's just in the same boat as Matt Miazga. He's had a lot of potential. I think maybe a little more potential than Matt Miazga. And I think that he can also another player who just needs a little more experience in the national, in the top flight level of soccer to really be judged a little more. So I put it together again. I would call him up as well as maybe like a third choice backup center back. I think that would be perfectly fine. Okay, now let's talk about two center backs who I'm really excited have been called up. Probably two of my favorite names on this list, and that is Walker Zimmerman and Aaron Long. Walker Zimmerman having 6 appearances for the national team, and Aaron Long with 5 appearances for the national team. Now these are players who have, you know, been around in the MLS for a couple years before they got recognized by the national team. You know, Aaron Long really not making any appearances for the under 20 or under 23 World Cups or rosters. But Walker Zimmerman did come through the ranks for the under 20s, under 17s. But when I saw it, I was actually surprised that Aaron Long was not on the same path. He didn't have that same path. He just got called up straight to the senior national team, which is cool. Did take him a couple more years because I just think he wasn't as good as he is now. But I think the older he got, the more mature he got, he really developed as a really great center back. He's pacey, he's strong, he's good with his feet. He's good tactical awareness. He won MLS Defender of the Year, so obviously there's something there, something special about this dude. So I'm really excited for him to really organize that back line for us and be the mainstay center back. Really good for him. He's young still. He's only 25 years old, I believe. And Walker Zimmerman, I think, around the same age. So perfect duo. I would start both of them for most of the games in this Gold Cup. And then let's go to Tim Ream. I think Tim Ream is, again, another player who I'm really not too fond of. He's never really impressed me for club level or national team level. Wherever he's playing, I'm just like, he's not that good. But, you know, I think he really might be used more as a left back than a center back, because he was used as a left back last time Greg Berhalter called him up for those 2 friendlies earlier this year. So now going into left backs, we got Greg Garza, Daniel Lovitz, and Anthony Robinson. Anthony Robinson, of course, playing for Wigan Athletic, but he's on loan from another Premier League team, which is Everton FC. So I don't think he's really made any appearances for Everton yet. He's been there since 2015, I believe. He's been there for almost 4 years. So you'd think that he'd try to make an impact, or at least get a chance to make an impact for the Everton team, but I guess he really hasn't. That's why they've really been loaning him out a lot. But I don't really know too much about him. I don't follow Wigan. I don't follow the Championship as much. But he must be doing really well to have Greg Berhalter recognize him. He does have 6 appearances for the national team. So I'm really excited to see how he matures into the left back position, because, like I said, left back and right backs right now we're really short on. Really short on those positions. That's why we have Tyler Adams playing as a right back. And that's why we have Tim Ream playing as a left back in those last 2 games. But for right now, these left backs really no one's really popping out at me like, yes, this guy's a lot of potential right here. But Anthony Robinson, I think, is a player with some decent potential into his name. Greg Garza, you know, again, another player like Tim Ream, really has never really impressed me when I see him play. Daniel Lovitz, I don't know too much about him, to be honest. So I really can't make a big, strong commentary on him because I don't want to get any stats wrong. So I apologize. So out of these 15 players called up to the 40-man roster, I believe only maybe 8 of them will be called up to the 23-man roster this summer. Now, it might not be 8, it might be less, it might be more, but I'm just speculating because I'm picking each position and then having some backups for that position. So these are your boy Drew's picks, and if you don't like them, these are just my opinion, so no hard feelings. Right back, Tyler Adams, Nick Lima, or Reggie Cannon, but maybe more Nick Lima. For center backs, I'd pick Matt Miazga, Walker Zimmerman, Aaron Long, and Cameron Carter-Vickers. And then from the final 2 picks, for left back, I think I'd go with Anthony Robinson and Daniel Lovitz. So that's 8 players right there. Perfect. I think that's a decent lineup. I think it's players who really have some decent national team representation, and some players who are so young and need that experience to get comfortable playing at the top level in terms of representing your country. So those are my picks. In the next video, we're going to talk about midfielders, which is my most excited, most anticipated video for myself, at least, because we've got a lot of big names, a lot of crazy potential players in our midfield that's going to be really crucial to our national team success. So I'm excited to watch that. If you guys aren't subscribed yet, definitely subscribe to you guys. Make sure you're able to see that video when it comes out. Turn that freaking bell on so you know the second I post that video, and this video, by the way. But again, I want to know your guys' thoughts on what players, what defenders you want called up from this 15 players that I have listed here. Let me know down below. Let me know what you guys think of Omar Gonzalez being called up. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for kicking it with me, and as always, I'll see you next time.